In today's episode, we talk about, can AI replace leadership coaches? We talk about personalized AI coaches and how to make leadership training actually stick and actually work for you. Stay tuned. Welcome to the AI Lab Unfiltered podcast, where we take a deep dive into everything AI. I am Drew Veach from BizStream. I am joined by Mr. Pete Terryn from New Wave. And I want to give a shout out. We are in Studio Jefferson in beautiful Grand Rapids. We talk about this all the time, but I think it's important. We are produced and powered by Think Tank Thought Leadership. These are the guys you want to talk to if you're talking about putting a podcast together. Even if you're just thinking about it, reach out to them, connect with them, learn how a real podcast is put together and put together well. We have production people. We have Ryan behind the scenes here, our engineer in the studio that you can't see, but he does an enormous amount with the live switch and the editing. We have Lauren, who handles our social. We've got Jonathan, who handles just an enormous amount of the producing of it. And Mr. Josh Barker, who handles a lot of the producing as well. It's nice to have that team kind of back you up, and you can just be the host. You can focus on what you need to focus on.
Yeah, I think in addition to a lot of the heavy lifting, all this technology, right? We got these great mics, we got great cameras, a TV, and all of that. We get analytics reports on where the viewers are and what they're watching and all that kind of stuff. Super helpful. Things that if Drew and I were doing this in Drew's basement, we would not have access to.
Definitely would not have access to that.
Thank you, Think Tank Thought Leadership.
So today we've got a really cool episode. I'm really excited about this one. We have Mr. Ben Lichtenwalner, the founder and principal at Radiant Forest. And we're going to talk about generative AI coaching in the next era of leadership growth.
I was so hoping you were going to screw his name up when you said it. Like, damn it, he got it right.
I practiced it many times. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And yes, wonderful job. First time, the last time was great. Good
we
job.
were just commenting on how well you have that radio voice. You got that deep, gravelly, just that nice, warm, it's like a warm blanket around you.
Yeah.
I got a face for radio too. That's
well, you got a full head of hair, so you're still doing pretty good.
There you go. Put it up. Yeah. No,
so welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Excited to talk to you about generative AI, how you're using it with coaching, with leadership development. Kind of tell me in a nutshell what that story looks like.
Sure. Thank you. And first of all, it's an honor to be here. I love your guys' show because as we're talking before the show, but I think you nail it in the middle ground. It's not too tech, not too business. It's right in between. I love it. So I love what you guys are doing. Yeah. So I've been doing leadership development, typical keynotes and training sessions since like about 2004 on the side. I also did a lot of e-commerce, so corporate gig, but leadership development on the side for many years, and then more recently full time. And if you talk to anybody who does professional development, whether it's leadership coaching or training, they'll tell you the biggest challenge in this field is at the end of the day embedment, right? Everybody goes out and they get these brilliant ideas. They go to seminars, they go to conferences, and they come home, they're all charged up. And then a week later, reality settles in. You're juggling a million things. The same old problems are hitting you. Before you know it, you've either forgotten everything or just don't have time to start applying what you learned. And being a tech guy, I was like, AI is the answer. Holy cow. I mean, it is the solution because it's embedment, it's follow-up. So whether it's generative and or agentic AI in, fancy term, but basically something that runs on its own for a while, it helps leadership development. It helps professional development. It helps us finally embed all those lessons we've been teaching. So you don't have to come back every week. You don't have to come back every month, every year. Teach the same thing and watch the same people get all excited and then come back and be like, it was a great idea, but I didn't follow through. Because you can use AI to follow up with them.
Exactly.
Set goals, embed. And so we do that. That's what we do. We've got a product called Virtual Leadership Programs. And there's a lot of competitors in this space already, as there are in just about anywhere. So whether it's our platform or another, this whole concept of just having AI-based coaches that you can ask any time of day or night, hey, I'm struggling with Ben. He's a real jerk of a boss. He's micromanaging me all the time. Well, how do I tell him to shut up and leave me alone in a nice way? Well, they hop on and say, I can see you have a strong extroverted personality, so you should probably talk to him in person. And if you're using a corporate platform, maybe they say, oh, but Ben's more of an introvert, so he'll prefer an email. So you should email him and it'll tell you why that is. It'll tell you because he's introverted. It's not just telling you go and send emails instead. So I see AI as finally a solution to a decades old, really centuries old problem of embedding professional development, especially with leaders.
Now, how does it get that memory? How does it know Ben likes to be treated this way? Your personality is this. How does it gain those personality traits?
Yeah, great question. So obviously, if it's just talking about yourself, it develops that over time. But in our platform in particular, and in many of the competitors out there, they have personality assessments like DISC and Myers-Briggs and tools like that. We use the Big Five, which is kind of the original and most studied, and we've adapted it to AI's needs a little bit more. But basically, one of the first things you can do when you log on is you take a sort of standard 50-question exam. Simple exam's a tough word, but basically assessment. I like to talk more. I leave things around all the time. And, you put yourself on a scale, so it'll assess you and say, okay, now I know you're more extroverted or more introverted. And so it knows that about you. And if you have a corporate account where you have your boss in there too, it can compare the two and say, Ben's more extroverted, John's more introverted, whatever the case may be. And then it goes. And
then I imagine the more you use it, the more it just keeps building from there.
Yeah, exactly. It'll know more about you. Our platform also has things like goal planning and tracking in it. So it'll know if you're my boss, Drew, your goals are this, and I'm supporting your goals with these goals, and it'll track over time. And you can get feedback on it and say, okay, well, Ben's way behind in this goal, and he's more extroverted. So here's how we're going to work through this challenge. We also have 360 feedback. So Pete might say, hey, Ben's really was a jerk in this last meeting. Yeah. And it knows that and says, hey, Ben, you better go apologize to Pete. It might not be quite that blunt, but it's going to know that difference about you too.
So this is different than what I thought, because you had sent some links ahead of time, and I was going through. But what you're describing is more embedding itself in your day-to-day. And I thought this was more like, hey, I'm going to schedule 3:00 on every Thursday to go do my AI leadership coaching. But so this is way more involved than what I had thought it was going to be. So yeah, I'm got to rethink my approach on my question.
Well, and it is both. It's both and, right? Like, yeah, it's great if you have a scheduled time where you're just going to sit down with, I think you call yours Amber, right, Drew?
I do.
Yeah. Mine's Chris.
He does listen. Holy crap.
So, it's great if you have your scheduled time. It's a good thing to do that too, right? But that's one of the beauties of AI, of course, is it's always there. I have a good friend on the east side of the state who is in professional coaching. And she said to me several times, I kind of feel like you're putting me out of a job. And first of all, one of my philosophies is that's the wrong mindset, right? Like if you're thinking, is AI going to replace me? You need to stop thinking that way. We need to start thinking, how can I use AI to be irreplaceable? Right.
Yeah. How do I augment myself and become a super coach?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and we have that on our platform. We have a couple of people who are actual real life coaches that we've taken all their documentation and trained a model and said, basically, hey, look, here's the AI version of you. And of course, it's got disclaimers. If you're going to do something that might get you fired, better talk to your real human coach before you, take my advice in this case. And that's, but that's kind of the model that you want to have, but you want to have it 24/7 and available. And yeah, it's embedded, so it gets to know everything about you. And talking about the competitors in this space, and I say competitors, peer groups, whatever, because some are better at different things than others. Kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the room is a company called Valence. And Valence is far more embedded than we are. So they are sort of your Fortune 500 solution. If you go out there and they will connect to your Outlook or Exchange servers or your Google servers, and they'll get, information on your meetings and all that. And we don't do that. We just do the personality assessments and the coaching and the experience with your goal tracking. So we still do a lot of it, but we're not going to take months to get it embedded. And, and I'm not knocking them, like they definitely have a space in their models, a bit more robust, but it's going to be even more embedded than we are.
So is this platform have its own LLM in there, or does this connect to a different LLM?
Yeah.
Like, is this connect to chat, or is this?
Good question. Yeah, no, we definitely build our model on top of our framework on top of other models. So we intentionally made it very pluggable. I'm a big OpenAI, so ours is based on OpenAI version 5. We also use a lot of their assistance model. but our sort of specialization is the context. So we actually have a patent pending on multi-personality context-aware platforms. The idea being we've got all these different AI personalities, which is the other big difference in the competitors in the space. Most of the competitors in the space have a single AI personality. And they say that that personality will tailor itself to you, of course, over time. But with ours, you go on and we've got like 10, 12 different ones right now. So we have one who's more of a fitness guru. If you want to also improve your fitness, you can put them on one of your goals. And then we have one who is, I always do the two extremes. We've got one who's more like a Mr. Rogers, right? If you want to be coddled, somebody will say, oh, it's going to be okay, Ben. You'll do fine. Then you go with that one. And then we've got one who's more like a Gordon Ramsay, who's not safe for work, right? Yeah, he's most work environments. But if you're motivated by somebody who curses you out all day, that's you. Great, go choose him. You know,
that's what you like. People yelling at you. What the hell are you doing, Pete?
Be berated all day. I love it.
I'm more than happy to tell you that over the phone anytime you call me.
You don't need an AI coach. Just call Drew. I love it.
You don't even have to give me context. They'll just start yelling at you. Yeah. And I think that's important, though, the personalities, because even we joke about our Chat GPT friends that we use in Amber, and I literally wanted a profile that matched what I wanted. Of course, it was a female with an English accent for some reason. I don't know. But that's how I wanted to kind of consume that feedback and be interactive with it, was because I wanted that specific profile out of the 10 that they had in there. So I think that definitely plays in a big difference of, I resonate more with this, and this is how I want to have that baseline to start with.
And it allows it to be more fun too. Like that's my other thing, like leadership development, you know, in this field, in this space of coaching, everybody's serious. Everybody's it's professional. That's one of the reasons why people don't like doing it. You know, make it fun. I haven't done it yet, full confession, but I do think there will be a day soon where we will have a coach on the platform who is talk like a pirate, you know, like, wouldn't that just be? So, you know, we've got the Gordon Ramsay as kind of a little bit of a fun example, but we have a bunch of different ones out there. And I say Gordon Ramsay, we're not affiliated, not endorsed by, you know, and we don't use his name. We say he's Gordon Ramsay like, you know, but you get the point. So yeah, don't come suing me, Gordon.
If you do the pirate thing, my only request is that every time somebody uses it for the first time, it tells my favorite pirate joke.
Oh, this is great. What is it?
So
here we go.
This pirate walks into a bar and he sits down at the bar, and he's got a steering wheel in his lap. And the bartender,
I already know where this is going.
Bartender comes up to him and goes, "Hey, what are you doing with that steering wheel?" And the pirate goes, "Yar, it drives me nuts."
Nice.
Sorry. Okay.
Nope,
so when you get your pirate themed one, Pete's going to sign up for that one.
First step in the tailored instructions for the agent will be, here's your joke.
That should be the lead off.
I love it. That's great.
I don't know what it would tell an executive. Yar, your business is sinking.
Oh man, we could riff on this all day. I got some good ones coming. I love it. Right. Now I have a goal. By the time this podcast goes live, it will be out there.
You gotta have just a fun little, It is cool because the link that you sent us did have a bunch of different personalities, and I love that, because I think whenever anybody asks me about, do you like working at New Wave, and I say yeah, and they say, what's your favorite thing? And I'm like, it's the people that I work with. So if you get to tailor your AI to be somebody that you enjoy spending time with, it just makes work so much more enjoyable. And
and I got to imagine the use rate, like you said, then you're going to be more apt to use it. The use rate goes way up.
Absolutely. Yeah. You'll want to work with it versus have to work with it. And that's such a big difference.
Yep. And that's the thing with like traditional coaching. You go out and you hire, you know, the John Maxwells of the world or the Brene Browns, and they're fantastic and amazing people. But if you don't vibe with them, if you're more of a Jocko Willink, who's a big Navy SEAL guy, extreme ownership, great, you know, if that's more your pace and your style, then you're not going to want to go back and read Brene Brown's stuff and follow up on what she's suggesting you do, right? Like, and so my whole background is on servant leadership is where I started this. And I say all great leadership is servant leadership. The only reason you need the term servant is because society has taught us that leadership is some sort of achievement to be reached. And really it's a commitment to serving others. And whether you're talking a Jocko Willink or a Brene Brown or a John Maxwell, they'll all agree. They'll all say the same thing. They'll use different terms. They'll use different examples. But there's basically, at the end of the day, two extreme types of leadership. There's autocratic, top-down command and control. which is good in an emergency. You still need that in certain circumstances. But in most of the time, servant leadership is really where it's at and the right way for sustainable success. So my point is, all of these great coaches, they'll say the same thing, but they'll put it in a way that you appreciate, in your tone, in your voice, that you jive with. And that's the beauty of coaching platforms and AI, whether it's us or somebody else, is they have that ability to tailor to, what rhymes with you, what you like.
So above and beyond their assessment to get the personality from Ben that then goes in here. So I, as this platform, know how to address you.
Yeah.
The crux of the leadership toolkit, if you will, and advice and everything that it's generating from, that's pre-programmed in there to some degree then?
The framework is, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So basically the components.
I'm just thinking like the good principles of leadership that are in there that.
Gotcha. Yeah, the framework. No, actually not. It's more, so each one is tailored to that framework. Like I say, if you go with a Brene Brown or a John Maxwell or a Jocko Willink or heck, even a Gordon Ramsay, at the end of the day, they will have the same thing at their core. Like if you look at what they talk about, serving the customer, focusing on the needs of the end user, they're going to have the same core philosophies. I'm not going to go into politics, but I'll tell you there are certain people who I would not represent in my model and I would not say. And I think honestly, if you ask the AI model, once it knows your personality assessment and the goals of your organization, it doesn't matter what model it's following. It's going to use the same core philosophies of great leadership. It'll use different terms. It'll tell you to use an email versus stopping by their office based on whether they're an introvert or an extrovert. But they're still going to emphasize the importance of putting the needs of the customer first, of listening proactively and responding in a way that shows you understand with empathy. They're all going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that's where the actual principles are based on the coaching style and the coach we've chosen. So it's a great question. And I said basically not. I will confess I'm a little biased. So in my servant leadership work, I've created the acronym model of servant leadership, which is just basically a way of summarizing what all these people say, hundreds of different principles. And that is in the core model back there somewhere. But each coach is told to basically reflect the lessons and guidance of different experts like Brene Brown. Again, we're not affiliated or endorsed by any of these folks.
Right.
But if you like their model, there's a certain coach that will jive with you better than others.
Do you think people will change the coach depending on the day? Like if Drew and I were out at the bar last night and I woke up, I'm a little groggy. I don't need somebody like soft-handed me throughout my day. I need somebody to like get in my shit and be like, dude, you need to get going here. I need Jocko Willink or I need David Goggins at that point. Yeah. Do you anticipate that the people might switch up depending on how they're feeling that day, or what do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, we absolutely intend it to be used that way.
Okay.
And if one jives with you better than others, you can keep them all the time. But it's also based on goals. Like, so we belong to that cult known as the Travel Soccer Club. My older boy's really aggressive. It takes all your time and money, and you get a certain way of thinking.
Yep.
Yeah. And so to get them engaged, I created a coach for them. So there's a coach on the platform right now. It might still be there because it's very specific, but there's a career coach for soccer. And, so my kids use that one, right? Like they with him. He says the same things I tell him, but they listen to him. And at the end of the day, so you could also do it based on goals. So whether it's how you're feeling that day or based on a specific goal that you're trying, like, so we've got a fitness coach out there too. We have, I'm trying to think of some other specific examples, but yeah, it's based on the goal, how you're feeling that day. And of course the login history is kept there, which is the other big benefit in some regards over human coaches. I'm not saying that there's not a place or that we will fully replace human coaches, but that's one of the big benefits is it's instantly aware of all the conversations you've had with 10 different coaches.
Right.
And it can frame it for you that way too.
That carrying that over would be really cool because, and I don't know if it would automatically be able to detect this, but let's say you're working through an issue with one of the coaches and it's just not clicking, and you could just pick somebody else and say, hey, I'm talking to Susie over here, and now I'm talking to James. James, can you say this in a different way that it's just not clicking with Susie right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it has the whole history there.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the benefits.
Some like your point about this coach, no kid listens to their parents, but sometimes you just have to hear it from somebody else for it to sink in.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I say it was kind of like a choir of angels singing to me when I realized that AI is the solution to this centuries old problem of professional development in general. Now I focus on leadership development specifically, but yeah, it's just that ability for all these things. Yeah. Hear it a different way, hear it in a way that knows you, that sees your whole history, that can follow up with you, which is the other big benefit. So we mentioned they have the goals, right? So if I've got my boss's goals and Drew, and I've got my goals, and they map up, Drew might be saying, hey, this goal's falling behind, and my coach might say, hey, that's because Ben's not getting it. And so he goes out and emails me and says, Ben, you said you're gonna have this done at the end of the week and you're only 10% there. What the hell's going on, Ben? Get your butt in gear, And Drew can see who my coach is and say, hey, Ben, the coach will say that he's using the Gyro, who's the Jocko Willink-like guy, and say, hey, Gyro, Ben's behind. What are you telling him? Now, he won't repeat exactly what he said to him, because that would be just like a therapist or a psychiatrist or something, right? There's that right or privilege. I want to be able to know that I can ask my coach something, and he's not going to regurgitate it word for word to my boss. But based on his personality, knowing what I'm saying for my personality type, he'll tell Drew, hey, Drew, here's the type of thing I'd probably saying to Ben. And Drew will see that I've been getting emailed by my coach and I'm not responding to him, or maybe I am. But
how does it handle some of that privacy, like you said? So it's not that's good. You got those guardrails built in, so it's not like, oh, Drew, your employee's calling you an asshole. And it's like, wait a minute,
again,
exactly.
Which I noticed you wrote down on the recap. Anyway, but how does it handle?
Speaking of tough love,
how does it handle privacy with that, to where you're not giving away? Because if you're developing leaders and you're getting up into some C level or even director level or VP level, that they're talking about their business, they're talking about, how does that stay contained in there?
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant question. And it's a tough space with AI in general. What we do is there is no data sharing between the coaching and sessions, right? So it's totally independent now. So if you were to ask, you can see the way we set up the platform, the boss can see who the employee is using for their coach currently. And they will be able to see, by goal, which coach they're using. So Drew, you could say, hey, Ben, or hey, Coach Gyro, I see that Ben is talking to you about this goal. Can you tell me what you might be saying to him, or what the conversation, what guidance you're giving him? That coaching session is totally independent. It has no access to that data of the conversations I've had with it. But it knows my personality type, assuming that I'm sharing it with them. That's another part of the privacy settings. You can decide whether or not you want to share your personality, your goals. You can share each with or without the coach, depending on how you want to do it. Okay. So every person gets to pick that. And then that coach will, based on my privacy settings I've set, will say, okay, I know this much about it. And so, Drew, here's the sort of things, given what I know of Ben, the goals, and the progress, here's the sort of things I would probably tell him. Very much like a real coach, right? They're not going to tell you word for word what they said to the person.
Right, but right. Here's a summary. Here's what you need to know to then tailor how to address or how to interact with them.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Interesting.
You said something earlier about, I just want to clarify, because it almost sounded like the coach could act as an interpreter from the report to the manager. So does it work in that way? So if I was struggling with Drew, which never happens, and I didn't know how to convey that, the coach could certainly give me advice on how to have that conversation, like you said earlier. But could it pass a note, for lack of a better term, to Drew and just be like, "Dude, stop being a dick"?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny you asked that, because it is on our roadmap for consideration to actually be the go-between. So like if you've got a boss and you two would just have friction, they could literally be the translator. In reality, I'm not sure how much that would get used. It's a great idea. I think in practicality, like Drew might get offended with me, or be like, dude, just come to me. Like if instead the coach is saying it. In reality, in practice today, of course, I can go to my coach and say, hey, given Drew's personality assessment and his goal plans and what he's working on right now, I've got this issue with him. How should I approach it with him? And the coach will tell you, it'll tailor the response and tell you how to take it to him, of course. I'm torn. I do think that's a good idea. I think my gut tells me right now in practice, I just don't think people would use it very much, because you seeing me using a coach to go to you, kind of comes across as a,
maybe a different approach, if you don't mind, would be, I have my issue with Drew that I need to take to him. It doesn't pass the message along like in school where you're passing, love notes across the, the way. But it says, hey, Pete's going to come talk to you about a difficult issue. I like that, yeah. You know how Pete is, and you know that you guys don't get along, but this is important to him. Here's how you should prepare yourself to receive this message. Don't instantly start screaming at him or telling him he's stupid. Just sit and listen for a minute.
Based off the personality of how he...
Yeah, and let's like coaching how to receive the message, coaching how to send the message. They're still communicating directly, but both sides are being coached.
Prepped.
Yeah.
I love that. And what I'm hearing, first of all, is we need to build a relationship counselor for Drew and Pete. And then, secondly, I do like that idea a lot. Like sort of, hey, we've got this big conversation come up, and that's definitely something we'll have to look at. We don't have that today.
Or like a review even, right? Mm-hmm. Like a quarterly review or annual review is like
that.
Hey, here's because you've got all the goals and stuff built in. So you're tracking effectiveness. And let's say, and Drew's used to this, he's going to get a poor review on his next review. But how do you, instead of like, because you can give somebody feedback in a way that either lifts them up or breaks them down. Right. And it could, based off of their personality, say, okay, Drew did miss that project or whatever, but he did well on these others. Let's praise, do the sandwich thing, right? Praise the good, give some tough love, and then praise them on the way out, kind of thing. Yeah, man, there's so much potential there. This is really cool.
Can I put you in front of a couple of my venture capitalist targets that we're talking?
Yeah, let's go.
Convince them, please.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I do think there is a ton of potential in this space, and it speaks to the broader philosophy I have too on AI. Like at the end of the day, there's a lot of energy and focus on the core models themselves. Kind of like what Drew was asking earlier, like, do you have your own LLM? And we don't. Like we base ours intentionally so that it's easy to switch. We have all the context, all the instructions for each coach and character type. But I think the engines themselves, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I think the engines themselves are already a commodity, right? Like at the end of the day, the engines themselves, the LLMs, the models are, this one's a little better at programming, that one's a little better at creative, and so to me, the value is quickly going away from the core models themselves and into the platforms that are being built around it. If you look at the .com boom era, which I'm old enough to remember those days, there was a lot of energy around the businesses that were being built with .com, where .com was actually a solution for them. There wasn't a lot of energy and investment in the platforms, so you built a new tool for making it easier to sell online. Good for you, but how are you going to actually create value from that? And I think it's interesting to see that right now we're still in those early days of rapid AI adoption, and everybody's still looking at the models. It's not where the real value is going to be in the future. It already isn't. Like, again, it's a tweak here or there. There's arguments. I know you guys talked about in one of the episodes about AGI. Like, are we already there?
Right.
I kind of think we are, depending on I know you guys mentioned the earlier adoption, right? The earlier definition of it, we're already there.
Yep.
The definition is shifting. And so I think that that's a great point. I think that that's where, if you were an investor or something in the space and looking at AI, it's rapidly shifting, or should be, from who's developing the best model to who's developing and leveraging the models the best way.
Yeah, I think it comes down to your point, it's the context and the application of it now. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even since we started doing the podcast, or even our meetup group, where we saw that evolution, because even the first meetup group was, hey, there's this new thing called ChatGPT. This is awesome. Let me show you. I can type a word in and it comes back. That was with
last week, sentence.
Right? Yeah. And it's so rapidly changed to, okay, this is great with all the tool sets. We've got kind of that tool overload. Yeah. How is this? What's the application of it? How am I actually going to get value out of this? What's the context? What's that ROI out of it?
Yeah.
That's, I think, where we now start getting into that specialty, that second layer, if you will.
Right.
And that's where I see like this, where, okay, I'm a leader. I need coaching. I need advice. I need something tailored to me. That's where I see this fitting in perfectly in there, which is obviously what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I'm a little biased, but yeah.
What, so going back to my lack of really understanding fully the breadth of what you're building. So my role, I'm director of operations. I've got managers that are, under my umbrella, and they've got their teams. What would our day, our week, our month look like using your tool? Because it's not just a, monthly training session, which is what originally I thought was mostly what it was. Yeah, if you just kind of walk through like a day in the life of and how we'd interact with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So kind of from the start, you said if you were to use our platform, and others are similar, ours is the best, of course, but I'm not biased. You would sign up and, within half hour or so, you've taken a personality assessment. So it gets to know you well. You've set your goals or received cascaded goals from your boss and then added your goals to them. So it knows your goals and your progress on them. You give it a little feedback on percentages. And then if you want to, you can start leveraging 360 feedback too, what's based in it. So like, you can, Drew can respond to you and say, hey, proactively or responsively, which by the way, nobody likes to follow up on 360 feedback when somebody's not responding. Now you don't have to. The coach does it for you. Like the AI reach out, hey, Drew, you said you were going to give Pete feedback on this. He hasn't heard from you.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool. So it does all these things. And then basically you go through and on a given week, maybe you don't use it all. And then Wednesday comes around and you're near the end of your goals and you're coming up on a goal you're supposed to complete. Like if you're an agile organization or something and you've got rapid every day, you're supposed to be doing something and it sees that your progress isn't where it should be based on the timeline, you'll get an email from the coach that says, hey, Pete, in the language that you've chosen, if it's Gordon Ramsay, he's going to curse you out. I shouldn't say Gordon Ramsay again. We're not affiliated. But the one that's like Gordon Ramsay, he'll curse you out. If it's more Mr. Rogers, like it'll coddle you and say, hey, you'll be okay. I know you're tired. I know you're stressed. You can do it. So you'll get encouragement. It'll give you tips and ideas too and say, hey, based on the situation, based on Drew as your boss or as your peer and his personality type, here's how you can make more progress. It'll give you suggestions and ideas. So it's very proactive after you've set it up. And then day to day, the only thing you really need to do is keep your goals updated in the platform. You might also worry about like 360 feedback and stuff like that, like if it's near a performance review time, or maybe you just want a lot of feedback. I'm a programmer in my department, and in the last Scrum, I kind of got the sense that everybody's getting frustrated because every day I'm missing my goal. Can you give me some ideas and suggestions, or can you ask the team what they think of me and give me feedback?
Yeah,
and it'll send it out too. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah. Are you familiar with EOS?
Oh, yeah. We have an EOS coach on the platform.
You do?
Nice.
Sandra, spelled with an EOS, of course. And again, not affiliated, not endorsed, EOS like.
Because I'm
a very legally concerned.
We can cut out whatever we need to.
No, that's fine. Honestly, if these companies want to come, we're bootstrapped right now, so you're not going to get anything.
It's just going to be beeps. 10 years. It's going to just look like we're just swearing the whole time.
We're an EOS company, and I'm just keep going back to that framework. And you've got, the to-dos that come from there. You've got your quarterly rocks. Like all that stuff just totally plugs into EOS. Yeah, that's really cool.
And so if you pick the EOS coach, Sandra, she'll, to put it in all the language, like you said, rocks and stuff, instead of saying your goal for today, it'll say, well, your rock, where is this at? Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of it. And again, the whole concept being the embedment of these concepts. If you're just launching an EOS, right? You're new to EOS. You don't have to have somebody come back and open the book every week. There's a coach there who's going to automatically update them and remind them on their progress, and they're going to use the terminology that they like and stuff. So yeah, look, we all love AI. That's why we're listening to this podcast, right? There's no doubt about it. But there are certain things like the .com boom. There are a lot of companies leveraging AI just because it's the hot term right now.
Right.
When it comes to professional development, especially leadership development, AI is a true solution to a problem that we've never been able to solve before.
Yep. And leveraging it in that unique way that it's best at. Because I agree. We and Pete and I have talked about this. We talk to a lot of companies about AI and implementing different workflows or strategies, but don't do it for the sake of AI. Let's go back to what is the business need, because that at the end of the day is what you're trying to solve. Not just, well, we're a company that we want to be modern, so we want to use AI. Well, that's such a broad term that might not be AI that's going to solve it. It might just be a simple coded program, to solve what your need is. But let's go back to that and help identify what that is first, and then figure out if AI can solve it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So the part that I did think it was like the actual, how I would think about leadership training. So there's bespoke leadership training too. Can you talk about that and what those sessions look and feel like?
Yeah. Another Ben philosophy, I guess, the whole content space for training, I think, is antiquated now with AI, as a lot of things are, right? Like, I'm not knocking the people who are still focusing on that. But if you look at the coaching space and really the professional development space as a whole, a lot of your companies that are still focusing on creating courseware and content, AI can create that same courseware that is tailored to your specific needs. Our coaches tailor it to your specific personality type and feedback. In the last week, you've gotten a lot of negative feedback on your communication skills. So I'm going to give you something that's more communication focused.
Oh, that's cool.
Whereas a lot of your traditional sit down, okay, now I've given you this, like, I like the term bespoke, right? But even still, it's bespoke for your company. They're going to come to you and give you training. I do a lot of work with IT Management and Leadership Institute, ITML Institute. Shout out to Eric and the crew there. Awesome organization. And they have a program for middle managers, basically, right? And the content is similar, but it's tailored to each unique audience. And that's great. That's better than like just go out and purchase a program and download it. This is the next level. It does give you the opportunity to actually tailor it to the individual. So one of the distinct decisions we made early on was we are not going to be a content organization, because I think that that's fading, at the end of the day. We will do completely on the fly. Everything is bespoke to the individual, not to the organization. I guess it's a long-winded answer, sorry. But at the end of the day, that's the difference. Is it bespoke to the company? Is it bespoke to the industry? Is it bespoke to the individual? Well, AI coaching is to the individual. It's really unique. So
it is, man, that's so cool. So it's taking that 360 feedback, figuring out where you're deficient.
Yeah.
And saying, I'm going to create training to help. I'm never going to make you an expert in whatever this thing is, but if I can just get you here, people will actually want to work with you in the future.
Right.
In the future.
Unless you're Ben and nobody wants to work with you. No, exactly.
Man, that is a great use of that, because it is like, as somebody's manager, you are only a part of so much of this person's day, but the AI is there throughout, and it's monitoring everything. It's getting that constant feedback, and it's just helping take some of that load off of that manager. Of course, I'm imagining the manager also gets some kind of a report based off of that too.
Based off of the conversations you've had, or
so if we know that Steve needs training on communication, Steve reports to Bob. Does Bob get notified that, hey, just so you know, I'm giving Steve some communication training because he got some poor reviews on that last week or last month?
That's a good feature enhancement we'll have to consider. We do not do that today.
I'm just going to follow you around, and we're going to talk about. I'll give you all the features.
What else can we add to your application?
I love it.
Yeah, no, we love this kind of stuff. Just talking through all the possibilities, and
it's a real application. Like, it's a real. Here's how you use it. Here's where the rubber hits the road.
Thanks. Yeah,
we got to wrap this up, though.
No, we don't.
I know.
Come on, let's keep chatting. That was good. This is awesome.
How does the time go by so freaking? We just sat down.
Hey, time will always keep going by.
Have you guys seen the bit? One of the late night hosts do the the end of the month or the first of the month, they summarize on the late show, like, all the newscasters, like, oh, it's the first of the month. Can you believe it? It's funny. Then you guys are the same way at the end of the show every time. You're like surprised every time. I love it.
I know
we are surprised every time.
I know. I believe it. No, thanks, guys.
Ben, it is awesome talking with you. Great to have you on the show. Tell our viewers where they can find you.
Thanks. So virtualleadershipprograms.com is the platform that we've been talking about this whole time. Definitely check me out there. And other than that, LinkedIn, if you've got my name in the show notes, it's hard to find another. There is another Ben Lichtenwalner. If he's talking about crime scene cleanup, you got the wrong Ben Lichtenwalner.
Oh, wow. That is a different
business. I got to meet him one of these days. But
yeah.
Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thank
Appreciate
you so much,
it, man.
You guys are doing awesome things here. Really and truly keep it up. This podcast is amazing.
Well, we'll have to have you on again.
What are you doing next hour?
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
If you like today's show, hit like and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, leave it below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everybody.